say that I'm an academic, and so it usually takes me 5 minutes to say hello. So I've written down everything. Now, brief remarks that I'd like to share with you today. Dr. Charles Desmond. I stand before you today with a profound sense of honor as we gather together to celebrate the 25th anniversary of our town of Danvers' Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Our celebration, and it certainly is a celebration, having all of you here with us. Our theme this year is Move Like King. It serves as a call to action, reminding us of the incredible legacy left by a man who not only reflected the challenges of his times, but also offered us a window into a future of equality and justice. Standing here today, I'm not just a spectator to history, but as someone who has personally felt and seen the unfolding of the dreams of Dr. King prophesied. A world of ever-increasing freedom, expanded equality, and a widening reign of truth and justice for all, manifesting itself before us in our very eyes. As an 18-year-old, I stood aside the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool during the historic March on Washington. I had the privilege of hearing influential voices like A. Philip Randolph, NAACP President Roy Wilkins, a young John Lewis, who was only a few years older than me, but he was speaking with power and eloquence at that event. And I will say, I was at the University of Massachusetts as the Associate Chancellor when we gave John an honorary doctorate. And it was one of the most wonderful experiences that I ever had. I really enjoyed it. But in addition to the wonderful speakers, we also had amazing voices. Marian Anderson was there. Joan Baez was there. Bob Dylan was there. Mahalia Jackson was there. So you can imagine what it was like with 250,000 people gathered outside in front of the Lincoln Memorial with all this unfolding before us. Little did I know then that I was an eyewitness to history, one small part of the movement shaping the course of history, a movement echoing Dr. King's call for justice and equality, not just in Washington, D.C., not just in the United States, but justice and equality for all of humanity. Today, I assure you that the dream Dr. King spoke of is not a distant hope, but a tangible reality unfolding in our lives. The strides we've made toward freedom, equality, and justice are manifest testimonies to the enduring impact of the March on Washington. Our theme this year, Move Like King, resonates deeply with me, with my own journey. Dr. King's dream is alive within each of us who stood at the Lincoln Memorial that day, inspiring us to never cease moving forward. In the spirit of Move Like King, we are here today to raise high the torch of equality and progress here in Danvers, remembering that the dreams of the past are the realities of our present day. As we celebrate this 25th anniversary of our town's Dr. Martin Luther King Day, let us be proud participants in the ongoing march to a world where freedom, equality, and justice are not just talked about, but are the reality of our everyday experiences. In closing, let me leave you with the powerful words of Dr. King, resonating the energy of this celebration. He said, "The time is always right to do what is right." He said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that." As we revel in the spirit of Move Like King, let us carry his guidance and his clarion call with us when he said, "If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward." May these words propel us into the event that follows here today, infusing them with purpose and commitment to creating a community in a world where freedom and equality is ubiquitous. It's everywhere. It's in our air. It's in our lives every single day. So thank you all very much. May this celebration continue to ignite the flame and hope and resilience within us here in Danvers, that we can continue to move like King, just as he called us to do on that mighty and miraculous day, in August of 1963. So, with that, thank you very much. So, I think at this point, I brought everybody into the room. Don't mind me, this is all like... That may be why I didn't know where I was supposed to do next. I dropped my notes on the floor, which is very interesting. Let me ask Dee to come up here for a minute. I know exactly what I'm supposed to do. Thank you. I do have officials for the town that are here, one and all wonderful people. So I'd like to ask the superintendent of schools, Dan Bauer, to come forward, and Steve Harper will take the lead.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction. I'm honored to be here. I'm Dan Bauer, the superintendent of Danvers Public Schools, and welcome to the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. celebration. This is just a wonderful, wonderful event. A lot of collaboration has taken place to come together today, and I have to give a lot of thanks, and I don't want to leave anybody out, but particularly want to thank the Human Rights and Inclusion Committee for their work in collaboration with the Danvers Public Schools and Mary Wormers and the team leading that initiative, bringing it together. Dr. Joko, thank you for that piece, and thank you for that work. Also, those who might be behind the scenes that provided the great food, our food service department, as well as the custodian staff setting this up. But also, I'd like to really thank the town of Danvers for supporting and creating an inclusive environment that we're here today to enjoy this wonderful celebration. You will note that the artwork, the Move to King, it's fascinating to me how it evolves, and it's definitely inspirational. Many students have put a lot of time and effort into this, and if you haven't had a chance to, make sure you get around to see the artwork, get around to see the tables, and a number of our students are here representing the work. They're leading some tables of artwork as well. Then you're going to see an outstanding group of our musicians singing, so that's so awesome. I'll let Steve do the introductions and the welcome to our town and local officials. But I just want to say this piece. And Dr. Joko said, when you come up for the welcome, please indicate how Danvers schools are moving like King. And I thought long and hard about this, and I've been on the job since July 1, and I can tell you that we are moving like King in many different ways, right? Some areas we're running, some areas we might not be moving as fast. There's lots of work to do. But I'm inspired when I go into the classrooms and I see the culturally responsive work that's being done by our teachers and our support staff, and the wonderful work that's being done here at the high school to create a sense of community with Community Block. The other piece too is we have a number of student groups that have led the way to bring change in our school community, and one will speak after me, the Next Gen group. They'll talk about the work that they do. But when I work with the teachers and staff and I see how hard they are creating the piece and supporting our mission, which is really creating a sense of belonging. That's our theme, is sense of belonging for all, so that everybody feels welcomed, they feel supported, they see themselves in the classroom, and the classroom sees them. And that way, we're able to accomplish a lot of our goals. We have a lot of work to do, as I said, but we're getting there, and that sense of belonging really anchors everything that we're doing as a school community. And I think I think the biggest piece of the sense of belonging and really moving like King is the item that this summer, when we learned that we will be having new students from different parts of the world join our school community through the Emergency Shelter Assistance Program. And we did a great job, we've done a great job, and we're doing a great job as a school community and as a town supporting our new students and our new families. And it's critical to understand that it's not just one person. I think this message of moving like King, it's a collaborative effort. And it comes in different phases, but we're very proud of how our students have been supported. And this starts with our administrative team and Mary Wormers leading the way, bringing it together to make sure our staff has the support they need, the town ensuring we have the support that is needed to provide our students the best they can, and our teachers and support staff what they need. Our teachers making it work so our students feel included, they feel part of our community, and it's a lot of hard work, but it's something that is happening, and I'm very proud of that piece. And also our students. I see our students in the classrooms working together and making our school community much stronger and much better. It's definitely a team approach for sure. I do have to point out Center Board is here tonight with Agnes and her team. And again, it's a collaborative effort. We couldn't do this alone. And Agnes and her group, they have been outstanding with communication and providing what is needed for our families and our new students. And I'm very proud of that piece and that relationship. But the things that you might not see behind the scenes, there's been so much outpouring of goodwill and compassion, which I think is really driving our community, such as the giving back, supporting our families in ways that people don't want to be recognized, and it's happening. So as the superintendent of schools, I'm very proud of that work, and certainly not one person, it's a collaborative effort. So I can go on and on for that piece, but I think that really encapsulates moving like King. So thank you, Center Board. Thank you. We have a number of staff that are here, students that are here. I just want to say thank you from the bottom of our heart, and I hope you enjoy this wonderful ceremony. And again, very proud to be here. And I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Steve Bartha.
Thank you, Dan. Dan has not been here long, but he's already proven to be a difficult act to follow. My name is Steve Barth. I'm the Danvers Town Manager. And I actually will leave the introductions to Dr. Desmond because I did get a glimpse at the notes that spilled out on the floor beforehand, and that's actually his job. My job is to welcome you all on behalf of the town, so that's what I'm going to do. I see, as the superintendent said, I see staff, I see volunteers, I see familiar faces, I see unfamiliar faces. This is 10 years since my first MLK event in Danvers, which is wild for me to think about because I still think of myself as a very young person, but the gray in my beard is telling me otherwise. But it really is a true pleasure and an honor to be able to welcome you all to this event. It gets better every single year. So I want to extend a huge thank you to the Human Rights and Inclusion Committee for the work that they do year-round to put on programming, but especially this programming, which really is sort of a keystone in the arch that they build every year. I was given 2 minutes by Dee. You give a mayor 2 minutes, they'll speak for 15. Town managers typically will speak for 1 minute and 59 seconds when you give them 2 minutes. And actually, I'll speak for less than that because part of what I'd like to do in just a moment is ask for a moment of silence. There are folks in this room who knew and worked with Susan Fletcher. There are folks in this room who probably don't know who she was. She passed away several days ago. She worked for the town of Danvers for more than 30 years. In our planning department, and she was an inspiration and an engine for the event that we're all participating in tonight. In her role as a staff planner and then as the assistant director of Health and Human Services for the town of Danvers, she supported a number of committees, including the Diversity Committee, which later became the Human Rights and Inclusion Committee. And the first MLK event had her fingerprints all over it. And for me, I think that some of the people who will be speaking tonight will probably also want to acknowledge her contributions. I had a chance to work with her for a number of years, but one of the memories I have of Susan that is, I think, poignant tonight, I have a 10-year-old daughter who was just a baby when we moved to Danvers, and I think when she was 3, we were attending the MLK event, and Susan and Juliana sat at one of the high top tables in the back of the room while I was shaking hands and talking to people. And they were locked in a deep, serious conversation for probably 30 minutes, and I have no idea what they were talking about. But that encapsulated for me sort of what Susan was all about. She had a deep and sincere interest in people. She had a deep and sincere interest in people's well-being. She really embodied the work that our Human Rights and Inclusion Committee does. I think she also embodied the work that MLK did. So if you would indulge me, I would like to ask everybody for Susan to offer just a moment of silence. Thank you. And with that, please enjoy the program tonight.
My name is Kevin Burke, I'm a senior at Danvers High School. This is Chuba Delaire, he's also a senior at Danvers High School. And we run a Next Gen Leadership Network. Next Gen was formed because the silence of our generation is apparent, but the silence of the leaders around us is louder. Next Gen in 2024 pledges to continue to move like King because, as Dr. King stated, in the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Next Gen is a space that allows us as students to tackle difficult conversations and process and reflect how we see these challenges and use lived experiences to create games and tell a story. Games give space for some of those conversations to be held in ways that lift the tension in discussing topics such as racism, biases, anti-Semitism, mental health, and educational disparities. Next Gen was created 2 years ago due to the lack of education surrounding peers who felt it was okay to display behavior that impacted the entire community with anti-Semitic, racial discrimination, and statements as well as homophobic issues surrounding Danvers High School, especially the athletics. Over the last 2 years, there's been improvement at the high school with no notable incidents in 2 years. Part of this is the willingness of students to engage in the challenging conversations and learn, ignoring that these things happen or allowing to make our peers uncomfortable is something we can't let happen. Next Gen is just one way Danvers High School fosters learning and inclusion. Over the last 2 years, the middle school has been experiencing racist, homophobic, anti-Semitic issues. Most striking of these incidents was graffiti in the bathrooms consisting of swastikas and other problematic symbols and messages. This year, one of the many things we are doing to continue to move like King is work with the middle school to further educate students on these issues to prevent them from happening again. Our primary goal is to eliminate the student population's ignorance about these topics. As a community, we have overcome immense adversity, and I'm confident we can continue progressing and moving like King as a town. As Dr. King once said, the time is always right to do what is right, and the time for Danvers is now.
As Next Gen leaders, we want to continue to foster ways of engaging in challenging conversations and understand how we use our platforms as students, athletes, and leaders to educate and bring solutions to the next generation. Dr. King said, "We are not makers of history, we are made by history." We hope that as a senior leadership team graduates, the space for conversation remains and impacts those coming after us. We hope to host a town hall conversation in February, inviting and welcoming everyone in the Danvers community to attend and hear how Next Gen continues to grow, make changes, and progress. We hope that beyond today as a community, we can always strive to move like King. As King said, the ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by the bad people, but the silence over that by the good people. As things continue to change in our country, and technology is an environmental factor that contributes to this generation's psyche, waiting on how to dismantle the isms is not something we can wait on. There are continuous concerns around this generation, and our ability to handle a changing world is one of them. Our social and emotional trajectory to handle challenging conversations, be uncomfortable, and confront injustice should not be one. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Those were powerful words, young man. Thank you very much for that. Right now, it's my task is to recognize some of the distinguished guests that are with us today. First of all, I'm going to begin by recognizing my wife. She's the most distinguished guest in my life. So, Phyllis. She's actually the quiet one in my family. I'm the one who makes all the noise. But first of all, from our select board, the chairman, David Mills, is here. So David, wave your hand if you could do that. I also see a number of members of our HRIC, the Human Relations and Inclusion Committee. Could you all just stand up for just a minute, our HRIC members. Dee, who's right over here, is one of them, but Paul Pollock is here, I know. Karen Elliott Christoph is here. She's been so helpful to everything that we're doing. Will Graham is here, and Johanna Hunter is here. These are all amazing people, and we're so happy about the hard work that they're doing to keep our efforts going forward. Our members of our school committee should really give them a very large applause. I know that Eric Crane is here. Eric, and I know that Gardner Trask is here, because I talked with him just a short while ago. So Gardner, wave your hand, please. Now, most of you know that I am a member of the library, elected member of the Library Trustees of Danvers, and we sometimes don't get recognized at these events. So I want to say Julie Curtis is here, Irene Conti is here, let's see, Donna Hopkins is here, and I'm here. So let me give the library. We're going to shortly hear from two absolutely amazing women from the great and general court. I've known both of these lovely ladies, I think I can say that, for a long time. And let me just recognize State Representative Sally Kerrins, please, and State Senator. Not yet, 1 minute, I'm going to bring you up in just 1 second. Joan Lovely, I should say, I just had a mental block. So, at this point, I'm going to ask Dee to come forward, because he has some matters that he's going to attend to, and I will step aside.
Good afternoon and welcome to our 25th MLK Day celebration. I'm up here to give the Seed of Hope Award. But before I do that, please allow me to take a minute to recognize an individual. And I hope she's still here and she would not want me to do this. So I prefer to ask for forgiveness instead of permission. Is Kristen Perkins here? I saw her earlier. Kristen, I saw you, don't hide. If she can just come forward. Kristen is the vice chair of the HRC, and this is her last MLK Day celebration as a vice chair and a member, as she's stepping away to continue to move like King in many other ways. She may have stepped out with the little one, which is okay. Thanks for being a great colleague, Kristen. I have enjoyed your friendship and truly enjoy working with you throughout these years. Your constant positive attitude and support have not gone unnoticed. And I hope you leave the committee with the knowledge of how you have made a positive impact in my life, on this committee, and our town. So just want to thank Kristen. It's now time for me to present the inaugural Seed of Hope Award, which will be given to a person or group who amplifies the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King by sowing seeds of hope for a more just and equitable community. The recipient of this award is recognized by the community as someone who fosters love and inspiration through service to the community. Author Mark Batterson once said, "Legacy is not what you accomplish, it is what others accomplish because of you." Let me repeat that. Legacy is not what you accomplish, it is what others accomplish because of you. The families and the children our awardees is helping are going to go on and accomplish great things because of the work she's doing today. This year's award recipient is Agnes Messiga. Agnes is being recognized for her work with Centerboard, a Lynn-based nonprofit assisting families placed in Danvers through the State Emergency Assistance Shelter Program. She and her team have provided services for over 300 families in our community. I first heard of Agnes during a call with stakeholders that were helping these families. And every turn, speaking to the town officials, the Board of Health, faith-based people, volunteers within the community, people will always say, let's check with Agnes. What does Agnes think about this? And to be very honest with you, I thought Agnes was a new state of federal agency that was created. Until I found out it was actually a person, it was a human being. Agnes has been an integral part of Center Board team for the last 17 years, currently serving as the Director of Housing. With background as a clinician, Agnes incorporates the core values of trauma-informed care in her work with families in vulnerable situations. Away from Center Board, Agnes draws her strength from her dear family and her faith. Her colleague, Oniga Roge Sosa, Assistant Director of Housing for Peabody and Danvers, said of Agnes, I quote, Agnes is a tireless leader, devoted to her team and the families we serve, and is someone who embodies Center Board's mission and core values in day-to-day operations. She's a mentor who will push you to go and share on your success. The organization is lucky to have her, and I'm proud to call her my friend. Thank you, Agnes, for all the hard work, long hours, and continued support. You truly are a special person with an incredible heart. Jasmine Ramon, the Director of Equity and Inclusion for the town of Danvers, has worked closely with Agnes on and off this last year, and she shared the following. I once heard a resident say in reference to Agnes, one conversation with her, I feel ready to run through a wall for her. Having worked with Agnes intermittently on projects since the summer, I wholeheartedly confirm this sentiment. Her passion is contagious, and while she will likely give all the credits to her team, having experienced her leadership firsthand, I can see the commitment and the care her leadership inspires. For all the coordination and effort she has done behind the scenes, for all the ways she continues to go above and beyond, our community is deeply indebted to her. Please join me and welcome and congratulate our Seed of Hope Award recipient, Agnes Mitila. Sally Kerens and our State Senator John Lovely to come up to the podium.
Good evening. It's wonderful to see everyone. I know that some of us are feeling a little heavy-hearted today because our dear friend Susan, as you heard about, is not here with us, but uplifting us is the spirit in this room and the work that is going on by this entire school community. I could not be more proud of the work that Dan Bauer and Mary Wormers have been doing steadily in concert with Agnes at Center Board. And I just want to give a little bit of sort of telling a tale out of school, if you will. We have these weekly phone calls between the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities and legislators and our staff people and Center Board. And I am the face of state government, and this is my partner, the other one, in my town. And I'm very upset, on the one hand, at what we have been handed for this situation, and we wish that the federal government would step up and do its part. But none of that affects the miraculous work going on at center board sites. And one day, early on, there was a picnic in the courtyard. And like many people, you know, I would be awake at night worrying about this situation. And then we went to the picnic. And what we saw was this unbelievable, spirited community of all of these families, mostly women, and Agnes and her team, mostly women, coming together and forging friendships. And I thought, this will be okay. They are a community. And that's the beloved community that Dr. King talked about and strove for. And I'm so very honored to present you, Agnes, with this recognition. In recognition, this is from the House of Representatives. Be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to Agnes Misiga in recognition of your compassionate efforts with Center Board to assist families in Danvers, earning you the Seed of Hope Award from the Danvers Committee for Diversity, Human Rights, and Inclusion. I'm very proud to know you, and I thank you for not telling me to buzz off when we're on the calls, because sometimes I get a little heated under the collar.
And Agnes, I brought a citation from the Massachusetts Senate also to recognize you. It's Danvers and Peabody and Salem. And in Salem, at Halloween, Agnes came over to be part of us hosting a trunk or treat in the parking lot at the Bates Complex, where there are about 300 or so children, families, parents, and the children were just adorable, all dressed up, the little ones. And I'm just so very, very grateful, personally grateful to you and to Center Board for everything that you're doing for our community, all of our communities, especially here in Danvers. And I will tell you, listening to my fellow senators across the Commonwealth, Center Board is held out as a model of how to support our new neighbors and friends that are coming in from other countries and how to do it. And so we are just I'm so grateful that that is happening right here, that you can provide that support and guidance to other parts of our Commonwealth that are struggling to provide the support. So I did bring a citation as well from the state Senate. Be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to Agnes Misiga in recognition of your compassionate efforts with Center Board to assist families in Danvers, earning the Seed of Hope Award from the Danvers Committee for Diversity, Human Rights, and Inclusion. I'm so proud to present this to you. Congratulations and thank you.
Wow. This is all very unexpected. When I received the email about the Seeds of Hope Award, I was taken back. I'm humbled. I work with an amazing group of men and women who every day get to listen to my suggestions and my ideas and do the execution. So first of all, I want to thank the Human Rights and Inclusion Committee in the town of Danvers for recognizing me and giving me this award. Again, I'm humbled. I am really humbled because I did not see this coming. 6 months ago, we came to the town of Danvers, and I will not repeat what has been said, with the goal of providing supportive services to families, both American citizens and recently arrived immigrants in the country, with case management and housing search. And what we are trying to do, moving like Martin Luther King, is meeting those families where they are and giving them a helping hand. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? That's Martin Luther King said that. So what we are doing is really a drop in the ocean because the crisis is real. Even before the immigrants arrived, we already had a housing crisis. So I want to thank the committee first of all, and also all, I think I'll call them my friends, the stakeholders in Danvers who sit with me in meetings, starting with State Rep Karens, Senator Lovely, Dr. Joko, Dan and Mary from the school department, Chief Jamie, I see you somewhere, and Ashley, the police. These guys, since we came here 6 months ago, they have embraced us and shown us where the resources are. Jasmine, who is not, I haven't seen her today, but I know she's somewhere. The senior center, I know I'm going to miss somebody, the library, everybody who has been sitting with us, listening to us. We had an ice cream social a while back, that's what State Rep Karens was referring to, and you all showed up and supported us. The Joseph family, they have always been asking us, where is the need, how can we help? At Centerwood, as I said, I work with an amazing group of men and women, some of whom are represented here today. So I'm going to ask the leaders from housing who are here to just rise up for a quick second. Leaders from housing and staff from housing department at Centerwood. Guys. I have one on paper who is Heather, who is also a chief operating officer at Centerwood. Heather is somewhere. Yes, she's right there. Yes. And our CEO, Mark, I don't think Mark has made it. Yeah, Mark is our CEO. So they both supervise me because the work we are doing is not easy. It is not easy because we are operating within a crisis and trying to get all our resources together and move on. As we all know, when you work in an office, it's good to have peers who you can go and vent to, like, are our supervisors crazy? What are they thinking about? I have those peers with me, and today I have Karen, who is our HR director, and Robin, who is our director of facilities. And these two ladies, I can call them my peers, but really they have been part of my growth. At some point, they supervised me, they mentored me along the way, and they have been there for 17 years that I've been at Centerwood, encouraging me along. So Karen, Robin, please rise. Thank you so much. The work we are doing in the hotels, as I said, I only get to be the one to say, this is our assessment, we are getting this number of families, these are the services, call it so and so. So I want to mention, special mention to our site directors and assistant directors who are here today. Oneida, who oversees our hotels. Thank you. Angela, who oversees our regular scattered sites. Thank you. We already talked about Salem. Salem is the first community we went to with the expansion. Amy, who is our site manager at Salem. And all the other directors who are here. I won't mention you by name, but you all know how important our team is. I'm so appreciative of you. Away from Centerwood, I am a woman of faith, and that's where I get my grounding. That's why I go to church. So my community of my family from church, I see a few of you here, the Cheliopot's family. I know you were somewhere there. Thank you so much for coming. And Anne, my friend, thank you so much for coming. And lastly, back home, this happens because I go home at night and I'm able to shut down and I'm able to rest with a peaceful, quiet home front. I want to recognize and appreciate my husband, Oliver. He has been amazing, and I appreciate those days when you have to turn off the computer and put it away, and you have to take away my phone, because some days are bad, yes. So lastly, everybody can be great, because everybody can serve. You only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love. We all can serve. We all have something to give. It doesn't have to be money. Sometimes it's that emotional support. It's just a word of comfort. Sometimes it's a box of diapers, because that's how bad the need is. Sometimes it's a box of wipes for diapers, because those kids need that. Sometimes it is culturally appropriate food. Maybe it is something you pick up at Stop and Shop, a box of plantain, bananas that families who eat that kind of food can eat. So I want to thank you all for coming and thank you all for embracing us. Centerboard continues moving like Martin Luther King in our everyday effort to meet the families that come to us at their point of need and provide the best care we can. Thank you so much and have a blessed evening.
So we're getting ready to transition to another phase of our presentation today. But before I do so, I'd like to ask my friend Dee to come forward. This gentleman right here, Dr. Joko, is an absolutely amazing individual. He did not want me to say anything about him because he said, I don't want anything to detract from the wonderful speaker that we're going to have. But I'm an old man. I've lived a long time. And nothing makes you happier than to look to a younger generation who are taking the torch and who are doing the work and who are representing so much that's good about this community. And no one, in my opinion, is doing that any better than Dee. He's an amazing individual. He's a trustee at Mass General Salem Hospital. He's on boards recognized by professional associations of which he is in his pharmaceutical field. He participates in activities here at the school. It's just amazing how wonderful he is, and I just wanted to say it's such an honor to know you, Dee, and I appreciate you so much. So this is where I'm supposed to make some segue comments, because we're getting ready to go into another phase of our presentation today. A few things are new. The tables in the back and the artwork differently displayed. But tonight we're not going to have a particular keynote speaker. We're going to have representatives from the town of Danvers who are moving like king, in our opinion, through their life and their participation here in Danvers. They've been invited to respond to the question, how do you move like king in Danvers, and what is your vision for this community? So we're going to be hearing from, just hold on 1 second, Goodwin Yana. We're going to be hearing from Alexis Smith. I'm going to do not justice to your name, but I want to try it anyway. Atu Gefu. It's close? It's close. We're going to be hearing from Jody Mela, Rosalba Vargas, and Maria Joseph. In between our presentations, we're going to have wonderful, wonderful music. Dr. King loved music. It was an instrumental part of his life, and it empowered him and strengthened him. So we're going to hear from music today, from the Houghton Richmond 8th grade chorus, from the Danvers High School Vocal Alliance, as well as wonderful students from St. John's Prep Swingtown presenters. So let us begin by hearing from Godwin.
I'll say it's great to be here tonight. In 2006, when I taught the very place that MLK was assassinated in Memphis, I left that place convinced of one thing, and that is that death is over it. Life is precious, but death is over it. What concerned me the most when I left there was not how King died. It was a gruesome death. What concerned me the most was not who killed him. He's a despicable human being. What concerned me the most was what killed him. What killed MLK is racism. What killed MLK is the failure, the refusal of some to see the common humanity in all of us. What killed MLK was the thinking by some that justice, the fight for justice, equity, and fair play is antithetical to law and order. What killed MLK is his opposition to Vietnam War. He opposed Vietnam War at a time because of the massive investment into a war at a time when many are barely struggling to survive in America. In the last 5 years, I've been working with a group at Hitmere Center for Cultural Engagement, a nonprofit, to get into these necessary conversations about the things that divide us. I think that understanding the differences and seeing our differences for what it is will bring out the better angels in us. Dr. King said something. He said, we must learn to live together as brothers or perish together as fools. This philosophy is rooted in a relational form of personhood that acknowledges that to dehumanize one is to dehumanize all. Danvers is my home. I'm proud to call this place home. It is the only place in this country I have a home to my name. My dream for my 4 children in Danvers is for them to grow up in a town that sees them and treat them as part and parcel of its very fabric. Oluchi, Chimsi, Norma, my 3 daughters don't want to be asked, where are you really from? When they mention their names. For them, it's a visceral connection that goes beyond the house that they live in, to a general sense of communities, general sense of belonging. I long for a Danvers that not only recognizes those feelings, but also honors it from the approach to town management, to how our school system runs, to the very composition of its systems and structures. Diversity and inclusion are no buzzwords. They are the very way that the Almighty One has designed the human family to go. Thank you very much.
Alexis is going to, I'm not going to say your last name, but I want you to say it so I can hear how it sounds. Abulia.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Alexis Smith Atuquetio. I moved to Danvers in 2018 with my family. We're moving back to Massachusetts to be closer to my mom and grandparents. As a daughter and only child, my mom, a young girl of 5 years old, is my inspiration. She rode the back of the bus with her mom, terribly car sick, the entire way from Alabama to Massachusetts. Her family was a part of a migratory movement of Black families in the 1950s and 60s who were escaping the Jim Crow South to the north in search of opportunity and to escape to escape the hate their families were experiencing. While the North was not perfect, it did offer them a glimmer of hope. The dream of my grandparents was like King. They worked tirelessly to improve the lives of their children and future generations. I am here because of them. And MLK and many other Black community leaders and activists who have paved the path of opportunity for me. But it is with no doubt that because Martin Luther King Jr. led the movement that had such a profound effect on the national consciousness that I am able to move like King today. In my advocacy work, to increase the number of culturally responsible Black engineers who excel academically, who succeed professionally, and positively impact the community. I stand here before you as the embodiment of King's dream. Not only do I move like King, but I am the dream of King, and I am continuing to do the work of Martin Luther King Jr. and ensuring equity and representation in the fields of engineering and technology, and more broadly known as STEM. As president of the board of the National Society of Black Engineers Boston, NASB Boston, a federally recognized nonprofit organization dedicated to the academic and professional success of Black and African American engineering students and professionals, I volunteer my time, my best efforts, I celebrate achievement and innovation in the Black STEM community and empower the next generation of engineers and leaders. Under my leadership, we have awarded over $200,000 in scholarships and grants, and will launch our inaugural Youth STEM Talent Development Program in Clean Energy Technology this very summer. That program will impact the lives of 15 students in Lynn, in Boston, and Brockton. It will provide them an opportunity to explore careers in STEM and hopefully provide them an opportunity to close the racial wealth gap. Through investment in youth STEM initiatives and creating opportunities for the next generation of innovators, I hope that I can leave a lasting impact in the community and diversify the STEM talent pipeline, where future STEM innovators aim high, maximize their potential, and have access to opportunity in STEM to solve the greatest challenges of their communities. When I started on this journey as a chemical engineer and now executive, there were many rooms that I entered as the first or the only. But I've committed my life and my legacy to ensure that the path to opportunity and success in STEM for underrepresented groups is more clearly navigated by those who look like me. When thinking about my remarks today for my dear Danvers community, I could not help but to be drawn to the fact that MLK gave his last speech on April 3rd, the day I would be born almost 2 decades later, and the year that his birthday was recognized as a federal holiday. In his last speech before he was assassinated, he said, "We've got to give ourselves to this struggle until the very end. Nothing would be more tragic than to stop at this point. We've got to see it through. We, all of us, have got to see it through." We're close to achieving the dream of King, but we still have a lot of work to do to end prejudice and to end bias. The Civil Rights Act served to dismantle the system of racial bias, but we as a people, as a town, as inspiration to the next generation have to commit to every day leading the life that challenges us to encourage and to practice equity, to practice inclusion, and to practice belonging in our community and in our daily lives. Thank you.
Is with us, so Tom, stand up for a second, let me see you. And so with that, Thomas, the microphone.
Hi everyone, my name is Billy Carlton. I'm the Director of Choral Activities at Bolton Middle School. I do want to say this is actually my first Danvers MLK event since I was in high school here in Danvers, and actually my very first MLK event was actually when I was in Cub Scouts when I was in 7th grade. It's nice to be back here now teaching, and at the same time, getting to experience this with my students. We're going to be performing Round the Doors arrangement, I Sing Because I'm Happy. And I really want you to think about when we sing this song, think about how singing is definitely a human experience and how it's something that we can really connect with as human beings and connect with as a community. That's one of my favorite things as a singer, getting to experience it with a community of other people. We really enjoy this performance tonight. Thank you so much for having us.
On the surface, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and I don't seem to have a lot in common. He was a Black Baptist pastor, the youngest man to win the Nobel Peace Prize, and an iconic public speaker. I am a white, non-binary, queer pagan with a learning disability and a fear of public speaking. I've never won an award for anything. But therein lies the beauty and power of MLK Jr.'s message, that everyone can sit down, share the same table, and discover that they share their humanity and common values. Dr. King and I actually share a lot of the same values, such as he believed that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, that economic equity is just as important as racial desegregation, that not everyone can pull themselves up by their bootstraps when some people don't have boots. If Dr. King had not been assassinated, then he would be the same age as my grandmother, and he could have lived to see this day. The idea that the civil rights movement is ancient history makes it seem like his work is done and finished, but it's not. It's up to us to be inspired by his legacy, and it's up to us to continue the work, doing the work. I believe that the town of Danvers is capable of continuing that work. Because of constant moving around as a child due to my mom's work in the Navy, I never felt like I truly belonged anywhere, and have always wanted to find somewhere I could really put down some roots, get involved, and call home. I've been very fortunate to have met so many great people and have been given so many wonderful opportunities to be engaged in our town. My hope is that every other person who moves to Danvers, regardless of their skin, color, identity, or background, receives that same welcoming and accepting experience as I have. Thank you.
Hello all, my name is Rosalba Barros. As you may know, I am with the Danvers Police Department. I graduated from the Haverhill Police Academy in June 2022. And I've been part of Danvers ever since. I was born in the Dominican Republic and I moved to the US when I was about 2 months old. After being raised in Lynn, my mom, my brothers, and I moved to Danvers when I was in 6th grade. Fast forward, I joined the Army Reserves in 2015, my senior year here at Danvers High, and eventually served on deployment in Kuwait. Coming home, I saw joining the police department not only as an opportunity to serve my community, but also show younger residents who have a similar background to mine that it's possible. Right now, I am a Latina in our department, and in fact, the only Hispanic person serving on the force. But that won't always necessarily be the case. All children growing up here need to know that there are welcoming teams like mine and opportunities right here in town. Sometimes moving like King means being the first to take the first step forward. There's a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. that I feel represents my vision for Danvers. He said, "We may all have come on different ships, but we're in the same boat now." It's easy for people to be held in the past, but I think the future can hold new traditions and ways we make the community not only better, but stronger. Today in Danvers, we have residents from all over the world, but growing up here, there wasn't a lot of representation for me and my brothers to see. I feel like Danvers is almost there. From classrooms to cafes, there are places that show and represent different backgrounds, all investing in one community. This is how we thrive. We all come from different places, but we are all in the same boat. Thank you for listening.
We're now going to hear from how they do that. Danvers High School. Special singers that are joining us tonight. I'm sure it's going to be an absolutely wonderful presentation. Thank you, guys.
While they get set up, I'll just introduce our selection. Jason. Ooh. While they get settled, I'll just introduce our selection. For those who don't know me, my name is Alex Grover. I'm the portal director here at Danvers High School. Our selection today is called Let Me Be the One, and to just contextualize it in the context, or to contextualize it with this ceremony and for Dr. King's memory. In education, we have this mantra, that building relationships is, the foundation of what we do, and I think that can definitely extend beyond just education and into our everyday lives, and it's so important just like it was for people to rely on Dr. King, and even if they didn't know him, they felt like they had a relationship with him, that even in our everyday lives, just sitting next to the person that we're here with today, or someone who we've had a relationship with for a long time, that we need to know and be able to trust those people so that we can get through the day and fight in these times, that we need to come together in order to make change, in order to just be positive all the time. And so really appreciate everybody coming to this ceremony to listen to talks like these and to songs like these. This is our group, Vocal Alliance, which was formed last year specifically for events like this. Our sort of mantra is Vocal Alliance, singing for social justice. So here's our group singing Let Me Be the One.
Let me be the
until recently, I didn't really connect with the need for us to work to continue his work. As a resident of Danvers for 30 years, I built my connections mostly through my kids, their schools, their activities, and my church. In 2004, I married my husband, Joey, and as an interracial couple in Danvers, it still felt like a comfortable community to me. Then, in the fall of 2020, in one of my son's online classes at DHS, someone started typing threats in the chat, including kill all and my husband and I met with the DHS school officials and the Danvers police after the school day ended, and my son told me about it. I was frightened by the threats, but I was also disturbed that we were the only people to report the incident. The teacher, none of the students, or the other parents who had seen the chat had come forward. And my son was the only black student in the class. I, at that time, had to come to terms with the fact that the attitude of many bystanders was probably the same attitude that I had had. If community discrimination or injustices weren't directed towards me, they weren't my issue. Up until that point, I didn't really see a need to become involved in community affairs. But I then realized if anyone in my community feels threatened or unwelcome, that is my problem, because this is my community. I'm so grateful for the community events, the series of conversations about race, the events that the Human Rights Inclusion Committee had, the Anti-Racist Book Club, and the other events. These things have helped me on my personal journey to unpack and examine and accept ownership of my unconscious and conscious biases, but also allowed me opportunities to connect with others in Danvers who share the vision that our community can be a thriving community for all our residents. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jay Pollack. I teach English at St. John's Prep up the street. I'm so grateful to my good friend Alex Grove, who was this extraordinary choral teacher at Danvers High, and to the whole Danvers community for having us back. It means a lot to us to be part of this event, and we're just incredibly grateful to be here and celebrate the legacy of Dr. King with you all. We're about to do a song called Hold On. It's a traditional spiritual, and it deals with that notion of peaceful but very strong persistence in the face of injustice, and we hope it strikes a chord.
Hold on, just a little while longer. Hold on, just a little while longer. Hold on, just a little while longer. Everything will be alright. Everything will be alright. Pray on just a little while longer. Pray on just a little while longer. Pray on just a little while longer. Everything will be alright. Everything will be alright. Fight on just a little while longer. Fight on just a little while longer. Fight on just a little while longer. Everything will be alright. Everything
we are right. We've got work to do, and we're going to keep on moving forward to that work gets done. I want to say to the people of Danvers, this is an amazing town. This is an amazing town. To all of Dean and I are members of the Maple Street Church, the Maple Street Church family that's here today. Can't tell you how much you mean to us. You're wonderful, beautiful, fantastic people. What our history of this church is to say. Study the history of the Maple Street Church. It's absolutely, you can't be a black man in America without appreciating the people at Maple Street Church and the things that they fought for at that church. It's an amazing story. So hold on. Just a little more longer. Now, everyone, we're going to take a picture from up in that balcony of everybody that's here assembled, and it's going to live in perpetuity for all of us. I want everyone just to remain right where you are. Keep the smiles on your face. We're going to put this poster in front of you.